You're listening to the Reinvest Podcast, where each Tuesday we show business owners and entrepreneurs how to reclaim, reconnect, and refocus their life by bringing you the top real estate professionals in the industry. We'll help you diversify into real estate by equipping you with the tools and tactics to build generational wealth. Your hosts, Garrett Gatton and Seth Simonillo. What up, Reinvest listeners? Thank you for joining to another episode of the Reinvest Podcast, episode 103.
Crazy that we're in the hundreds now.
That is crazy. Triple digits. That's a badge of honor, man. We've come a long way. And as always, our commitment to you guys is to bring all things real estate investing to you so that you have tools on your tool belt, you feel knowledgeable in it, more importantly, so you can take action.
And I heard this on another podcast. This podcast is free. We don't sell you anything, really. We don't have any ads. But the only thing that's not free is that we would ask you guys to share it. I was like, that's like a low barrier way. If you get anything out of this episode, if you could share this episode with a friend, so that way we can get more exposure, and it's a win-win-win for everyone.
Yeah, we're all about that, all the way to the top. What is that saying that all tides raise rising ships, right? And that's the cool part about business.
Tides raise rising ships.
Tides raise rising ships. There are tides. I'm just kidding. You can go Google it and we'll figure it out. Today, we are going to talk about something that is very future-oriented. It's happening now, but it is going to change the way that real estate is done in the future. It's going to change the way that business is done in the future. And to make even a broader statement, it's going to change everything. So today is our guest.
We're not talking about AI.
No, it's not AI. It's not AI. But it is something that has taken place. And we're going to get some history. We're going to talk to somebody who's doing it at a high level today. And today's going to be very actionable for you. Okay, so wherever you are in real estate, you're going to be able to leave today's episode and say, oh my goodness, this is going to give me the fuel that I need to scale my real estate business to the next level. So today we went all the way to Moldova to find our guest. We traveled the world and we finally landed on the country of Moldova. Don't ask me where it is. And we found somebody who's going to be able to unfold today for us. So, Valentina Brega. Did I say your name right?
Oh, perfect. Yes.
Wow. Okay, great. I was going to try it in an accent and then I decided not to.
I told him to not do the accent before we started the podcast. I said, leave the accent off, please.
I was this close.
Just out of curiosity, what would the accent be?
Oh, no. Here we go. Valentina Brega.
Oh, that's perfect.
You're not Italian. You're from Moldova. And you are the founder and the owner of Hire Train VA. So, Valentina, give us a little background. Like, what are we going to talk about today? And what is your company?
Yeah, I mean, look, when I started working with virtual assistants, it was an eye-opener for me. And I was like, this is so good. I don't understand how so many people don't know about this. And if you would have asked me about what is virtual assistant, I don't know, like 7 years ago, I would have been like, what is a VA? I actually remember when I started working with a real estate company. So I just moved to the States 6 years ago, just a kind of background story. I immigrated to the States 6 years ago, and I started working for a real estate investing company. And I was part of the leadership meetings, and at some meetings, they're like, you know what, we need to hire a VA. And I'm like confused, like, what's a VA? And they're like, virtual assistant. Little did I know that in a couple of years, I will be having a VA outsourcing company, and not just any VA company, but we are now so well recognized within this real estate investor community because we crack down on what needs to happen when you hire a good virtual assistant and how you can leverage international talent in your company to scale up and free up your time and get some time back, which is just absolutely phenomenal. So when I started working with VAs, I was like, this is too good to just keep for myself. I right now have 10 virtual assistants in my company, leading different roles. That gives me time to be on this podcast, to connect with people, to do bigger things, and trusting my team entirely to run the day-to-day operations. So this is exactly what we're going to talk about today. How you can do that no matter where you are on the journey, whether you are a rookie or a seasoned investor or just, thinking about leaving your W-2 job, and like whatever you're in, we can talk about how you can leverage that international talent.
And I'm excited because we have kind of a personal touch point, A, with your company, and B, with having a virtual assistant for the first time. So this has been in practice for us and in real time over the last 6 months. So I'm excited to talk about how we've seen that change our business. Before we do any of that, though, why don't you give us your story? I mean, Moldova, You immigrated
Yeah.
to the United States. Like, who are you? How'd you get here to the point where you have a VA company that's recognized across the country?
Yeah, this is so crazy and so surreal. And I have to pinch myself sometimes, like, is this really happening? So we moved to the States in 2018. It was me, my husband, and our 1-year-old daughter at the time. And we came to the States and we realized we only have $400 in our pocket. So let me just back up a little bit. We won the green card lottery. For those people who don't know about this, this is something that countries can participate in. It's a lottery. There's no favors. It's just purely like, extraction. And I've been playing that lottery ever since I was 18. And every single year is like rejection, 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 rejection. I applied 13 years or 14 years in a row. And every single year it was just rejection, rejection. But I didn't want to give up, right? And and I was actually frustrated. I'm like, come on, I speak the language. I'm young. I can contribute to American society. Why is somebody who is much older, doesn't speak the language? Why are they getting this opportunity?
They're gonna die in a few years anyway. You know what I mean? Like,
But I'm saying, like, they keep it fair, right? So I mean, like, okay, keep it fair, democratic. Just keep going. So this one year, when we were actually in Sweden, my daughter was born in Sweden. We were looking for just a better place, better life for my child. And then I opened the email and was like, wait, something doesn't look right. I was expecting that rejection. It's like,
right.
This looks different. Wait a second, what's going on? So we won. We were one of the few selected people to win the green card lottery. So after that, it was a whole year of, documents, medical records, background checks, like all of that to be able to come to the US. But, you come to the US and that's it. You're just given the opportunity to be here, but no security, no nothing. So when we came here, it was one of the most stressful periods in our life. We didn't have a job. We didn't have a place to call our own. But more importantly, we didn't have rental history. We didn't have credit card history. Right. No one knew anything about us. We couldn't even rent a place because there's no reference. There's nothing about us. It was all just a whole.
Did you kind of leverage your cute 1-year-old to kind of get in the door somewhere?
I mean, of course, but what I did was actually, I was being honest. So when we got our first rental property, they said, yeah, just bring the reference, bring these documents. And I didn't say anything. I said, okay. And then when I met with him face to face, okay, here's the situation. We just moved here. This is what we do. This is our family, but I promise I'll keep the house clean. I promise I'll do this. And the landlord really liked us. And he said, well, we kind of have it too. We were supposed to give it to someone else, but I like you guys. I like your story. I'm going to give it to you. And this is how we built our rental history here in the States. But the first month was just so stressful. And we had some money put aside to start our life in the US. But when we got here, we realized we can't access that money. We can't access that funds. We have to go back to prove that, to let them know we're leaving the country. It's just a whole bureaucratic nightmare. And we just had $400 in our pocket. That's it.
Wow.
No car, no nothing. Yeah, it was. You
literally started from scratch.
Really, yeah. This is the American dream that we're living right now.
It's like that movie with Tom Hanks called The Terminal. You know what I mean? He's stuck in the terminal.
It doesn't seem anything like that.
It's so close. It's pretty much the same story.
Really? Oh, I have to watch that. I haven't seen that either.
You're going to be disappointed.
Really? But, so I was looking for a job when I got to the States, and a lot of companies wanted to employ me, but I didn't have a car to go anywhere. So I was like, well, no. And then I had this opportunity to work for a real estate investing company, work from home to answer the phones. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. The only problem is I don't have any real estate experience. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what the word ballpark meant. I thought it was a park where people play ball. What is ballpark? So it had a long way to learn everything about real estate, but I was hungry and I wanted to prove myself. Wow. So when given that chance to work for a real estate company, I said, I'm going to be the best employee this company has ever had. I'm going to get promoted fast, put me in any position. I don't know, I'll work at Walmart, I'll do whatever, but I promise you, give me 3 months, I'll be promoted. Put me in any position. So that's what happened. I answered the phones, and then in 3 months, I was promoted to lead manager. I was hiring people from under my team. My numbers, I was crushing it number-wise. My numbers alone were higher than the whole team's combined. So they had to let some people go, and then they trusted me to hire my team and then to train my team on everything I was doing. So 3 months later, I was promoted to overseeing the whole sales department. So it kind of started, people knew about what I was doing and the success I was having on the phone. And a lot of investors, they said, hey, can you teach my team everything you know, like how you talk to people? How do you disarm people on the phone? How do you have these conversations with them?
Yeah.
So I did that for a while, but then I said, you know what? Look, I'm not a unicorn. There's a lot of talented people worldwide. I can find someone like me. I can find them and I can train them. So you can have someone dedicated in your company who can do what I'm doing. So this is kind of how I got started with my company. After years of working for that real estate company, I transitioned to doing it my own thing. And my initial goal was finding people like me who I can train and who will work for real estate companies. Right now we service different industries, but primarily we still work with real estate companies.
So let me just ask you a couple questions here. So going back, like just to dissect some of your story, there's tons of people that come in with confidence to a job. So like, what's the difference between somebody who comes in confident, like, I'm going to crush it, I'm going to get promoted, I'm going to do the right things, and then the people that are actually like able to execute on that, right? Like, obviously you weren't just hyping yourself up. What were the things that you did that like got you promoted?
Mm-hmm. There's a book called, I think it's called The Immigrant Advantage or The Immigrant, or something like that, right? But that's the idea, the immigrant advantage. And I think what my mindset back then is like, so when you're an immigrant, when you come here, you are focused on opportunities. You know you're coming to the land of opportunity, and there's a ton of opportunities still in the United States. There's a ton. So I knew my mindset was like, I'm going to the land of opportunity. I'm going to find it. So in everything that I did, I saw opportunities. Even with the job that I had, it's good to have confidence, but I think I looked at that as an opportunity. It's like, I have a friend who says, you always know the minimum that you're going to get, but you don't know what this is going to take you. You don't know the maximum. The minimum, yes, I will have a job. I'll get some money. I'll be able to provide for my family, but you don't know what this is going to take you. Yeah. And this has opened so many doors for me. Like this is literally has been, life-changing for me.
Let me ask you a question. Can I interject just for a second?
Yeah.
Well, do you think that people that are from here miss the opportunity that's right in front of them?
Like, do I think they have opportunities here?
Yeah, like by you coming and not living in America.
He's asking, like, if you think Americans are blind to the opportunity we have.
Oh, not all, but I think a lot of people are.
Yeah.
A lot. Look, here's the thing about America. You don't need a college degree to make it here, to be successful. Mm-hmm. People don't care what your background is, where you're from, your race. No one cares about that. Like if you want to make it, you can make it. I was never treated as a foreigner here. I never felt as an outcast. I was, just, hey, do your thing, provide value. And I'm always I fit in, like I'm being treated well in this community just because of what I can bring. It was never me versus you or us versus you, like immigrants. It was nothing like that. Just do your job, provide value, and there's a ton of opportunities. And I like this here because it's like, yeah, you don't have to have a college degree. There are people who have maybe different backgrounds. I don't know. Maybe they were in jail. Like you can still make it here. This is not a society that casts judgment based on what you did, or who you are. But it's like it's all opportunity based.
If you're eating from that narrative, though, then you're just limiting yourself. Like if you think, because I just see this and I've seen it myself sometimes, so I'm throwing myself under the bus. Everybody in mental weakness wants to throw themselves a pity party. And like I love this. I'm not competing against the person next to me. Every day I'm competing with myself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When you have that mindset, it will not steer you wrong. It just won't.
No one's coming. No one's coming to save you, right?
Yeah,
So.
right.
The cavalry's not coming. And you took that mindset, you applied it, you were able to find success and create that success. So what made you think like that there were other people out there like you that could be brought into some of these same capacities that you saw for yourself?
Yeah, because I'm not from America and I know how much it impacted my life. And you can hire a virtual assistant to I don't know, for $5 an hour, for example. And I know how much $5 an hour can stretch in different parts of the world, even where I'm from. If you'd have talked to me, I don't know, 10 years ago, or I would have done, I would have worked for $5 an hour as well, because I know how much it could have impacted my life. And there's a lot of talented people worldwide with great work ethic, very appreciative of the fact to be able to work on the American market. grateful for the opportunity to do so, and happy with the money, and just, good work ethic. And I know there's people out there because I come from a place like that. And like I said, I know what it did for me. So
you were a proof of concept because of yourself, and you were the right person to be able to kind of reach into some of those other countries and create opportunity. What are some of the variables or the factors that have even opened up this as an industry?
Yeah, well, I'm a problem solver, I think. I like to bring value. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for me because, like I said, I come from a place that, I know what it's like to work on the American market without being American. So I can understand the VA side.
Yeah.
But now I'm an entrepreneur. I know what's keeping you up at night, at the entrepreneurs. I know the worry about, will I be able to scale? Can I pay my team? What if, I understand all of that. So I wanted to bring a solution that's like, hey, if you get a virtual assistant, you are protecting your net margins, but you're also making a big impact on someone's life, and you can stretch your dollars further, right? So you can scale faster and you can focus on bigger things. So I was like, this is like, how come people don't know about what it's like working with virtual assistants?
Yeah, I think the thing that blew my mind was you have the ability to hire a full-time employee for like a third of the cost or a quarter of the cost equivalent, right? And when you're a small company, you're always doing two things. You're like trying to reach and get business, and you have to spend money to actually go get that business, but you're trying not to spend so much money that you fizzle out and don't make it. And that is the entrepreneurial journey summarized in a nutshell. And so having a VA with so much of the tasks and the responsibilities that are done in any business being technological, that now gives that, like someone could be doing this from a computer. So in reality, if I were to hire someone from the US to fill a position in my company, it's really likely they're going to come into my workplace and sit down in front of a computer. So instead, now I can hire somebody who's in a different country for the same work because it's happening in front of a computer. And so that was mind-blowing for me. I was like, whoa, the little guy, the little company, the entrepreneur, the dude starting out, the ladies that are trying to scale a business now have the ability to hit with a big stick. And these are not, this is kind of a crude term, but these are not sweatshops. Like some people are like $5 an hour, da-da-da-da-da. It's like, when people think of inflation, it's the devaluation of the dollar in the United States. And you don't know what global markets are, right? So I'm sure with your company, you're trying to create a win-win scenario so that your virtual assistants are getting paid a fair market wage in their context that is going to create a livelihood for them and their families. And so that was another misnomer that I had. Wow, these are fair wages, and I'm creating an opportunity for someone to reach into the blessing and the excitement of the U.S. and have a job based on that. That was just like crazy to me.
Let me just tell a story here real quick. I actually spoke with a virtual assistant a couple of weeks ago, and she has been with the company for 2 years. I invited her on my podcast. We had a conversation about this, and then I wanted to know more about her story. And so she started to work as a nurse. So she would have worked as a nurse in the Philippines. She's Filipina, and I was like, well, how does that compare to working virtually? She said, if I worked as a nurse, my salary would have been $400 a month.
Whoa.
$400 a month. So she's making triple or double or triple like what she's doing working remotely. And I was like, well, wait a second, let's talk about this. Like, how much is rent in Manila, for example? She said, well, a small studio apartment could be rented for about $100, $160 a month. So when I say that $5 a month goes a long way, I mean it. It's like, it's not the same as $5 here. Right, because we don't have rents that cost $160, right? It's we're lucky if we get 10x, like $1,600. That's considered like the low rent. So it's not the same amount. But now the caveat to that, the flip side of the coin is because $5 is good money for some people in some countries. A lot of people are applying because they actually want that. They fight for those $5 an hour. They want this, but it doesn't mean everyone is good. In fact, we have to interview 100 people to select one or two because the majority are not good. You have to be very careful who you're selecting. So when it comes to like people here saying that, are we paying them fairly? Yes. And inflation has impacted everyone around the world. I would say the sweet spot to get a VA, again, depending on their expertise, I would say it's between 5 and 8. Something like this. That's typically what they want to be paid.
So, Seth, talk about our experience with a VA and maybe some of the things you were surprised at in going through that process.
Yeah, so we hired a VA from your company, so that was awesome. And I really like the way, so we've actually met a lot of people who have used different VA companies or have a VA company. We've probably 3 different people that have kind of different variations of how they run their company. Some companies, just real quick, some companies will find a VA for you, like Hire Train VA, and they will actually, you'll pay them to do that, to vet the VA, to help train the VA, and then that VA becomes your employee. So like they hand over the VA. It's not like they're managing that VA for you. It's actually an employee. So Ruby, if you're listening to this, hello.
Shout out. You're doing an awesome job.
Yep. But she is our employee, so she works for us. There are other VA companies that will train VAs, hire them, and then they will essentially kind of rent out their VA to you, and then maybe you'll pay that VA $7 an hour. They're paying their VA $5 an hour, and they're making a $2 spread, and that's kind of how they run. That's their business model. So they might have one VA that's working for 5 different companies in some different capacities, and it's a piecemeal model. From what I've seen, I just don't like that as much. I don't think that's a win-win for the VA. I just don't even think they're going to be focused on your company. I really don't think that's a good model. So I really like the way Hire Train VA does it. I like the way you guys do it. We are trying to grow a couple different businesses here. We have a real estate investing business, Level 5 Capital, and then we have our real estate agent team, the Garrett and Seth real estate team. And we just hit a point to where it's like, man, we're just overloaded for 2 people. We need some help in this company. And so, hiring an assistant that I would have to like sit here and train them and, pay them normal American wages, and
which is what, like
I don't know,
$15 to $20 an hour.
Yeah, I think it would have been hard. I think you'd have to pay something like $20 an hour, and it was just like that's not even affordable. And the learning curve is going to be huge, and it was just like this isn't going to work. And so I was listening to a podcast that actually mentioned Hire Train VA, and I was like, this could be the solution. So we got in contact with you guys. You guys kind of vetted us, and we kind of got onboarded onto your platform. And the crazy thing is that their platform, I could hire someone that was already trained and that had already had real estate experience.
Yeah.
And that already was experienced in being a transaction coordinator. Like they were out there from across the world. And Ruby, I think the one that we ended up hiring, she was working for a real estate company for years in like Georgia. Like she had already been doing it. Like I wasn't hiring someone that I had to start from scratch. And that was the mind-blowing thing to me, that there are people out there that you can hire in these other countries that are already doing what you want them to do, and then you can onboard them for your company, and it saves so much time, saves money, it gives them opportunity, they can grow with your company as you grow, and that has been a rewarding experience for us. It's been a great experience. So our virtual assistant, she works for us for probably 25 hours a week right now. We're kind of getting her to those full-time hours eventually. But yeah, it's just been a great experience. I mean, she's been trustworthy. She's shown up. She's done the work. It's been a lot of training. So there's a lot of training on the front end that I had to do with her, because we needed to figure out what our systems were.
That's really what that was.
Like the also eye-opening thing is that if you don't know exactly what you want them to do, they're not going to know what to do. And so it was like...
Which, newsflash, that's going to be present whether you hire someone in person or not. It's called having a standard operating procedure for a company.
Yeah, so that was part of the learning curve of growing a company. So we actually had to come up with those standard operating procedures, do the training, did a ton of training videos, and specifically showed, hey, this is exactly what we want you to do, and these are the times to do it. And she's done it. I mean, she's learned, she's grown, she's given us good ideas. And so I think that, I don't know, for some reason that was just like, the fact that it worked, that we spent the money on it and that we've spent the time on it and it's working was kind of mind-blowing to me, because it seems like such an abstract idea to hire someone from across the world, from a different culture, from a different lifestyle, and they're your coworker. And you talk to them like a normal person and you ask about their family. And it was just, so it's been really cool. It's been, I can really see the potential in this. I think eventually we'll probably be ready for another virtual assistant to work in some other areas of our business. But
And Val, I think that's a great segue. What are the most common objections or like false beliefs that people have, entrepreneurs have about hiring a VA?
I love this question. Oh, there's so many. So let's see. Where do I start? They have a very strong accent. No one will like talking to them on the phone. Wrong. So like when I said when we select the 1% of the VAs, that's actually one of the big reasons we reject people is because of what they sound like. I know I have a little bit of an accent. I know I do. But there are some VAs out there, you can't tell they're not from the States. Like their English is phenomenal, accent-wise. Some of them lived in the US. So we don't just hire from the Philippines, we hire from Latin America as well. So we have had people who lived in the States or grew up in the States and then had to go back. So we can find amazing people with no accent whatsoever. That's one of the things. The second thing is people think, they just don't get it. Or I had a bad experience with VAs before. And I'm like, well, look, if you had a bad experience with VA, there's a lot of factors that could contribute to that. Like I said, we reject 98, 99% of the people. So what I say to them, like, if you had a bad experience with a VA before, don't let a bad experience burn you twice. Like you had a bad experience, don't let that keep you from making a good one by hiring good VA. There are bad VAs out there, but they're also amazing virtual assistant. It's not about whether this works or doesn't. I know it works. We have proof that it works. It's just you need to find the right person. So I think it's a limiting belief mostly in people's minds because they think it's like, I didn't have a good experience. I tried on my own. My VA ghosted me or my VA disappeared or, they went MIA or just something like this. Yeah, but that's what we do. That's what our job to vet, to train them, to check references, to make sure. And we have a replacement option in place also in case that happens. So we support you throughout this journey so you don't have to go through some of the mistakes or some of the bad experiences with VAs. What else? I can do it faster than anyone. Why would I train someone how to do it? It's just going to take me 20 minutes to do it. Yes, but is this the best use of your time?
That's basically the question.
Like, look, if you're doing the little admin tasks, you're basically saying, hey, my time is worth $6 an hour. Like, why?
Yeah.
Like you are,
Ouch.
like you are still stuck in the little activities that's preventing you from bringing hundreds of dollars per hour for your company, thousands of per hour. Maybe you make the right connection, go to event, attend masterminds. There's so much more you can do with your talent, with your time, with everything you can. And you need to outsource the little stuff. You can't grow on your own. You just
and by that logic, you're like, this is only going to take me 20 minutes. But then, something else comes up. Well, that's another 5 minutes. That's another 10 minutes. And before you know it, you're doing like 3 hours of stuff that like you didn't need to be doing. And that's what I found. That was exactly what I found myself in. I was like spending, 20 hours a week, probably doing things that I should not be doing. And it's been, so you don't think that it's that much time until you really start dissecting. It's coming from maybe 4 or 5 different tasks, but when you add all that up, that's a significant amount of time.
And let me make a connection for somebody here, right? So like everybody will experience glass ceilings in business. And a glass ceiling is when you hit maybe an income or a revenue ceiling of like, man, we just year over year for the last couple of years, or quarter over quarter, we're just kind of hitting the same amount, or with the capacity, we've kind of reached our max capacity. And if nothing changes, nothing will change, right? And so this is a way for you to expand yourself as an entrepreneur. And it did not feel comfortable for us to make that commitment to pay like at a monthly expense for an uncertain kind of outcome to have a VA come on. Now, knowing what I know, we probably should have done it 6 months sooner.
Oh, yeah.
At least. And so that's given us capacity then to go out and take our time and put it and reinvest it into high dollar stuff. You got to delegate and elevate, right? And this is a way to do that. You delegate and then you elevate yourself into the tasks that only you can do. This is a way to do it. So who are these people and how does it work? Just in a really kind of quick summary, like maybe the process for even finding a VA.
Well, virtual assistants, they have, these are, okay, I don't know if you want me to talk about like where they are located geographically, or if you were to find on your own, where would you go? Maybe if you can just, because I can talk about this all day, like what.
Yeah, let me narrow the question. So what are some common countries that somebody would find for?
Okay.
And then if somebody came to hire Treem VA, like how would they be partnered with a virtual assistant?
Gotcha. Okay. So most companies, they hire from the Philippines. We hire from all over the world. Philippines is still one of the bigger places where you can find virtual assistants. I love that. Just as a country overall, they have this culture of working remotely. So that's good. Good internet, good English, all of that. We also hire from, let's say, other countries. Egypt, it has been very good, very good. Jamaica has been good. They speak English native language. So Latin American countries also, there's some smaller countries that India, no, India's not small, but there are also smaller countries out there that we hire from, but from the bigger one, of course, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, we also hire from those places too. So what I found is, just some of my observations from doing these years now working with VAs, some countries, generally speaking, but some countries are maybe better for certain roles than other countries. Let me say, so for example, I would say if I were to hire an acquisition rep for real estate, I would probably look at someone from Egypt and I would look at someone from Latin America. So maybe Colombia. We have hired amazing acquisition reps. Egypt, Colombia, Nicaragua, we've found good people from there. Costa Rica also is very good. If you're looking for more admin support, executive assistant, Philippines is good. They have this culture of more like pleasing people, and because they work a lot in customer service, right? So it's a softer culture. It's soft. Again, generally speaking, we have met exceptions from every country, but generally speaking, Philippines has been amazing at understanding what your needs are and delivering that result, admin support. Technical wise, we have, in my company, I have our SEO guy. He's from India. He's phenomenal. This guy lives and breathes SEO. So technical, all of that is India. Our video editor, he's from Bangladesh. So it's just, it's like, by now we kind of sort of have an idea of where the good talent is and for what roles.
And this industry has kind of matured a little bit more so that, to Seth's point, it's not like you're taking someone from scratch from one of these countries, teaching them how to use a computer. Like technology, the global marketplace has been really opened up now for like the last decade and a half. And so these are trained, qualified people. You're now creating a network of people who have existing skill sets that are relevant to your business. So somebody goes through the process, right? And they're looking for a VA through hire trained VA. How can they have confidence that they're going to find the right person?
Yeah. So our process is very simple. We sit down with you. We understand your needs. We kind of have a conversation with you. It's like, okay, tell me where your business is at. Where do you want to be? How do you envision this person helping you? A lot of the times people come and have this conversation with us and then they realize it's like, wait, actually, for me to achieve that goal, you're right. I don't need to hire this. I need to hire that, right? So we have this conversation like, okay, let's dissect where you are and what do you need to be at and how we can help you find that person. So what we do then is we run fresh ads based on your specific criteria, what you need to help you get your business to the next level. And then we present candidates to you. We take them through the whole process, vetting, screening, interview, background check, IQ test, personality test. We do all of that. And then we present some candidates to you, but we also give you access to a draft board, like a talent board, where you can see the 1% of the people that we select or that we that pass our qualification. And you can see across different industries, like you can see real estate, but you can also see acquisitions or cold callers, or you have access to all of that. And you get to see their name, where they're from, how much they want to be paid per hour. We never charge anything on top of what they want per hour, so that you have full transparency, full control over your VA. And then you also see the video. So we have two videos. One is the interview. We ask them questions about their previous experience. But the second video, we actually put their skills to a test. Hey, in your resume, you say you can manage email. Here's a situation. You come one morning you open my email, there are 600 unread messages. How do you handle that?
Delete.
And we want, and we want the VA to tell us. And here's the thing. A lot of them say, well, I will create folders. Look, everybody knows to create folders. I want something like, you're the expert. I want to learn something new from you.
Yeah,
and that's our goal in the company.
And
everyone we interview, go ahead.
Well, just to comment on the videos, I mean, we watched dozens of videos because we were looking through a lot of different virtual assistants that were on your platform. And it was funny because they're really valuable, because before you spend more time on that person to like move forward, you can watch the videos, see how they react, And then you can get a feeling for them a little bit. Are they blowing smoke when they answer that question? Are they giving just the generic answer that everyone would probably give? Or you would hear someone say something really intelligent. And you're like, oh, that was a good idea. They probably know more than me, And so, those videos were really valuable.
Yeah. And there are some people who need something generic. There's like, hey, I have an SOP. I just need to put a person in that seat to follow my SOP from A to Z. So, okay, well, you have that person. But then there's someone's like, hey, if you don't know anything about email management, you need somebody who does. You need an expert. And this person seems to know what they're doing. So that's the reason like we have that. So, but that's what I tell my team is like, we want to learn something new from every interview. Or at least that's my rule when I hire. If I'm hiring a copywriter, I'm not an expert in copywriting, but I like it. I'm doing my copy myself right now. I learn about this and I know it okay. But when I hire a copywriter, it's like, you better know more than me. Or, like video editing or anything like that. So that's kind of what I expect from the VAs that I hire if I hire an expert. So here's two reasons why you need to hire a VA. Once you hire an expert, or you need to hire someone who can do it at least 80% of capacity just to free up your time.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
And I want to add another layer into this that some people don't even think is possible. I'm going to blow your mind. You can find an executive level assistant that is a virtual assistant, meaning somebody who is like able to be equivalently like a 6-figure job, somebody that would be your right-hand person dealing with your calendar, your email. I mean, like your executive assistant at that caliber and that level. And I think, again, that's kind of taking some of the limiting beliefs off that people have and what's possible through the global marketplace. We need to keep moving. And so I want just really quick 3 good practices for an entrepreneur who has a VA or who is looking to hire a VA. Like, how do you set that up to win? What are some good practices?
Okay, set expectations. VAs can read your mind. Set expectations and look, nobody goes to work thinking, I can't wait to be horrible today. No VA has ever thought that, I can't wait to suck today at work. No, like everybody wants to do a good job for you. So give them that opportunity. Set the expectations. Tell the VA what success looks like to you. So for example, maybe hit certain KPIs or certain milestones or how to communicate with you or what do you expect. Like they want to do a good job for you. They don't want to disappoint you. So have this conversation with them. I would also say culturally speaking, understand that VAs come from a different culture. Me, myself, that was a big adjustment for me. We come from a more hierarchical structure than what it is here in the States. So even though me and my supervisors, when I worked for a real estate company, we were very close, my supervisor always gave me this feedback. Like, just speak your mind, say what you're thinking. I was always like, I can't disagree with my manager. I respected the hierarchy. And I want you to understand that if you hire a virtual assistant, they might expect this kind of relationship as well. Yeah. So it's good to have friends, but it's also very important for the VA that you have that firmness and that you have this, that you allow them to warm up to you so that you can speak on a more horizontal level.
How does somebody disarm that dynamic? Is it just reiterating, hey, speak your mind? It's just ingraining that in them. I want your feedback if it's negative.
This is what I do with my team. I have had my team for years now. And even now, sometimes, even, the people that have the most, like heads of departments, they're like, I don't know how to say this, but I think it's like, I want you to be confident. If there's a problem, tell me. It's like, I don't think this person really gets it. Maybe like, just say it like, hey, this person doesn't fit our core values. This person, so I tell my team all the time, speak up. I trust you. I put you in that position because at some point you will know more about this position than me. You are doing this every day. I'm being pulled in a lot of directions. You need to become the expert. And at some point you will have to tell me what to do. Yeah. So my video editor, for example, he tells me, I need you to film this B-roll. I need you to do this. I need this like, that's what I mean. Like at some point you want to grow to that. And you want to tell that VA to give them, to empower them. It's like, this is what I want long-term. Take some time, but also be firm. Like, this is what we need. This is the KPIs we have. Keep them accountable. This is very important.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just to finish this out, what's one more that somebody could kind of apply to their VA relationship?
Let's see. Understand there's so many. Have one-on-one meetings. One-on-one meetings, not just about KPIs, but I have personal meetings. And I actually, if you want me, I can share the questions that I ask in my one-on-one meetings.
Please do.
Bring us closer. Yes. And something like, what kind of person do you think would be a good fit for our company if we were to hire someone? And I want the VA to tell me what kind of person would be a good fit, because then they internalize it themselves and they know they have to be that person. So that builds loyalty. That builds that team cohesiveness. So, or how else do you want to contribute to my company? And just because of your role, you can't do that. And they may be like, I love social media. I wish I could do more of that. That's actually how I found one of my people, like in my teams, like, I would love to do this for you. It's like, I need that, so have that one-on-one meeting. This is very powerful and it brings you so much closer. And I can share the questions. They're amazing
that'd be
questions.
Great.
That's awesome.
All right. We are going to jump into our Smaller Pockets segment. So, Val, this is the part of the show where we talk about a real estate deal or real estate transaction that went wrong. What happened? What went wrong? And then most importantly, what did you learn from it?
I love it. So I do invest in real estate. I do invest in syndications mostly. So that's, not, I don't have that much contact with sellers, but per se. And we're actually looking to invest now in direct to sellers. However, I can talk from my experience when I was on the phone talking to sellers, and a lot of people are losing deals over that. This is, I remember this scenario so well. It's, I spoke with a person on the phone who had, a very big pain point. Just, something happened with her family. She was a hot lead. And we almost lost that deal because of something. So, okay, she was a hot lead. Someone else took the phone and I was like, no, like this is a hot lead. We need to call her back immediately. So I picked up the phone, I called her back, and the other person was just going through the script. Tell me about the roof. Tell me about that. No, you connect human to human. This is a pain point. Who cares? Focus on the focus on the motivation and see how you can solve her problem. She doesn't want to talk about the property. Something happened. She doesn't want to go back there. She just wants to close that chapter in her life. So I had this conversation with her, and I understood that she's a hot lead. She's going to sell to the first person who comes and knocks on her door. So I called the acquisition rep immediately. That was at 6 p.m. when I had this conversation. I called the acquisition rep and I said, hey, I don't care what you're doing, but you need to go and see that property now. And he was like, I'm having dinner with my family, but yes, sure. So he went to see that property. So I'm waiting for him to call me back and give me updates because I knew like we can have that lead. So at 7 p.m., no call back. It's 8 p.m., he's not calling me back. Okay, at 9 p.m., he calls me back and he says, we got it under contract. But then what he said, as I was leaving that appointment, somebody else was knocking on the door at 9 p.m.
Whoa, someone else to buy the deal?
Someone else to buy the deal at 9 p.m. So this is one mistake that a lot of people, they might make. They're like, this is a hot lead, but it's so late. I'm going to go first thing tomorrow morning.
Too late.
Too late. Speed to lead is everything.
Speed to lead.
Speed to lead. Yeah. So like if it's get on a call, make them an offer on the phone, like whatever it is. But once you get that hot lead, and we had I worked for a wholesaling company. We had a $60,000 assignment fee on that lead.
Wow.
So
oh my God.
We would have missed on that for two small mistakes. One, the person who was just like finishing the shift was thinking, yeah, I'm going to follow up with you, or asking the wrong questions, or like focusing on purely the script. I like scripts, but I don't love them. Okay. I like them.
It's a plan, so you can plan to change, right?
Exactly.
Like it's a good template that you can deviate from.
But you're a human. Connect that human to human. And that's something AI can't take right now. That's what I tell my VAs. Like, you're a human. You got to use that humanity, right? So I connected with her. I understood she's going to sell to the next person. And then the second mistake why we almost might have lost it is don't wait until the morning. Just go. Just, do it. Like, have that hunger.
Urgency.
It wasn't about money for her. Like, we gave her exactly what she wanted. She's like, it's not about money. I just want to close this and move on. And it was just too painful for her to go there. So she just, so that's it. Like, once you get those leads.
Wow. That's a
that
great
was good.
story. That's very good. All right, we're going to go into what we call our little nugget. So Val, this is part of our show where you give us a practical takeaway or a piece of advice that our listeners can implement to their real estate investing business.
Okay. let's see, to real estate investing business. I would say with the way the market is right now, now is the time to push, because the market will get better. Things will be better. And when they do, you will be prepared. Like you're preparing for the Olympics now, things will get better for sure. I see a lot of people who are, just, not doing real estate now or closing down their companies because they're waiting for the time to get better. But guess what? When the time get better, you will have more competition and you will be weak to compete in a strong market. But because now you need to work on the skills and everything. So that's one thing that I would talk to about, real estate investors. Like now's the time to push. Luckily, virtual assistants is an affordable way to do that. Good way to learn about your leadership skills, a good way to scale. It's an affordable way to make mistakes now or learn something like this.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really solid. If you're waiting until it's too late.
Yeah, it's too late. Yep.
Yeah. What's been one of the best resources in your business development?
Resources for
it could be a book, business. A relationship. It could have been like a class or a course or a school you went through,
or a podcast or something.
So many. I would say networking, just working with, knowing people.
Where have you networked? Like, what's been really a successful channel that you found a lot of meaningful relationships from?
I worked with Brennan Turner. So
who's that? Never heard of him.
Right? Oh, solid guy. I really like him. Great community. Has been an amazing. I went to Hawaii to be on his show, and it was a very good experience. Also, Bigger Pockets. I was on Bigger Pockets, actually. My episode just came out a couple of days ago.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. So this is what I like about the US, that people, when they don't hold their cards close to their chest, they actually share. If I go to anyone, if I go to you, for example, I say, hey, I like how successful you are. I like how you're on the podcast. What do you do? How can I do it? You will share that information with me. Right. And where I'm from, no, people are just more closed. And again, there was an adjustment for me. But I think if you're here in the States, talk to people. If you like how the success somebody's having, ask them. What books are you reading? Who are you talking to? Model what they're doing. How are you running your business? And they will tell you. This is what I like about this. They will tell you. There's room for everyone to sit at the table. So
it's the abundance mindset. Yep, you're exactly right. How can people find out more about you and follow your success?
Yeah, I'm on all social media platforms. I use my name, not my company name. So it's Valentina Brega. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube. I actually have a podcast about how to work with VAs, and I answer all the questions. How to pay the VAs, how to find them, how to screen, just every question that you have about the VAs, I'm planning on answering in my podcast. The podcast is called Built with VAs, and it's also on YouTube. And if anyone is interested, I will leave here maybe 100+ tasks a VA can do for you. So if somebody is not sure, okay, I'm learning all that information from you, but what exactly can I get my VA to do? Yeah. I will give this for your community here so they can learn more about that.
Well, we said this at the beginning of the episode. This is quickly changing the business landscape and the real estate landscape. So if you're not doing this or you don't plan to do it, you will be left in the dust.
If you think oh, that's cool for some people, but I can't use a VA, you're just wrong. You're just with the way everything works now, there is something, whether it's phone work, even property management. There's ways to use VAs. There's ways to use VAs for acquisitions, like what you said. There's so many different ways that you can plug them in. Yep. And if you, I do not miss having to log into 10 different websites to do my tasks for my businesses. I just don't. I have my VA do it all. And so don't have those limiting beliefs. Get outside your comfort zone. It is tough. It is challenging, but it is worth it. And it is super fruitful for our business. So,
Val, thank you so much for coming on. You were talking about cards to the chest versus sharing. You shared so much. We will put all the show notes and those links in the resources here for this episode. And thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being here. Thank you.
As always, excited that you joined us for another episode of the Reinvest Podcast. Stay tuned every Tuesday for new episodes. And if you want to learn how you can use your hard-earned capital to diversify into real estate, go to our website, lv5capital.com, and shoot us a message. Move farther, reach higher, and grow deeper. We'll see you next time.